All right, so I get a lot of questions about how I make my enclosures for my spiders. So I figured it's pretty simple to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a video about it. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna need is, most of this stuff comes from Walmart. This is one of the standard storage containers. Find it in the kitchen storage area. They're about $6 each, I think, the 5 something maybe. But yeah, this is the basic component that you need. You're also gonna need to buy some window screen. Now this goes in like screen doors. It's the one that I believe, it's the black plasticky one. I think it might be fiberglass, but that's the one you want. You don't want the metal one because the metal one rusts if it gets wet and can kind of bend out of shape. These work a lot better. So you'll just need a bit of that. It's cost, I don't remember how much it costs, but it's fairly cheap considering you get enough to last you a lifetime. Then you're gonna need a couple of these guys right here. These guys, this is the only piece that I had to order off Amazon. So this is their curtain rings. They go inside of curtains like drapes, so it can slide along the pole. I'll put a link in the description down below, so hopefully that'll make sense. Okay, the other thing that you're gonna need is a hole saw. The one I'm using is 2 1/8 inch. I think 2 inch would probably work just as well. And as long as you get pretty close to the size of this hole, you're okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill the holes and we'll show you the next step. Okay, so another thing that I've learned from trial and error is you kind of want to line up the hole before you drill, because if it's too low, it won't fit on. If it's too high, the little ring won't fit. So you want to make sure that it's above where this will be and it's below the top lip. So that looks pretty good for me. You can mark that in some way if you'd like. I don't know if I even have a pin on me, so I'm not gonna mark it, but you should. Okay, first hole is drilled. Doesn't leave the cleanest edge, so you want to kind of clean that up a little bit. Go slow so you don't crack this. It will crack if you try to force your way through it. You probably also want to do this in a well-ventilated area because it does melt this plastic and creates fumes. So better just to be safe. Okay, so that's going to be the first side. I always put 2 holes on either side, one on either side, so that you get a good cross ventilation. If you're if you're keeping a species that requires less ventilation, 1 hole's probably plenty. But like I said, I mostly keep widows and jumpers, so I need 2 holes. But I'll go ahead and show you the next step. Okay, next step, you want to take the side of the curtain ring that the little white piece fits into, and you want to basically just cut a decent square of the screen to fit inside of it. Doesn't have to be exact. As long as it'll cover up that whole thing, you're fine. So I'll go ahead and just do that real quick. Okay. All right, so there's my screen. So take the white ring out, put the screen over it, kind of center it, and then push it back in with that. Now, oops, I'm on the wrong side. So again, put it over that, and then you want to push the white ring in. Well, see, I'll do that again. So push the white ring into that. So one side it'll fit tight, the other side will be pretty loose. So you can get a general idea. So then you want to take your scissors, just cut the excess off. Not a big deal, but just to give it a cleaner look. Everything underneath this is going to be hidden anyway, so it won't make too much of a difference. So the other thing that I do for these, just so it fits better, is normally I will take a little pair of nippers of some sort, and I'll cut off these little bits right here, just because they kind of hold back on the plastic and keep it from making a good seal. And I'm incredibly unprepared, but I'll just see if I can't cut them off with this or cut my fingers off one, and we'll see how it goes. There we go. So yeah, that broke off pretty easy. So, and then again, the bigger one on this side as well. If I can get it. Like I said, this is really, it doesn't have to be, it's just so it sits more flush on the thing, and I think it just personally looks better. Okay, so those two pieces are out, and they're the pieces that go aside from these. Now this is the side that I'm gonna put on the outside, not for any real reason other than just I don't want, you know, either food I put in there or baby spiders or anything to be able to crawl through those holes. Whereas this one has a flat edge, this one has those two holes. So what you want to do, put this one on the outside, and then I lay it down on a flat surface like so, and then take the other side and you're going to just basically snap the two together. Now this takes some serious pressure, so you really need to push pretty hard to get them to snap, but once they snap, you'll know. Just making sure that they're fully in there. Okay, that's pretty good. So there's your first vent. It's solid. Nothing's going to be able to get in or out of that, and it looks good. You can't see the edge anymore. Looks good to me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and then we'll show you the next steps. Okay, both sides are done, and yes, before you ask, did I screw up and do the one thing I straight up told you guys to watch out for and accidentally cut it too close to the top? Yes, I did, but that's okay. We fixed it and it's gonna work. Okay, so the next thing you need, if you're doing black widows specifically, or any kind of a spider that makes a web, is you need one of these bamboo skewers. Let me show you what this is. This is, again, Walmart camping supplies. They're just bamboo skewers, so they work good for interiors. So what I'm going to do is make basically a pyramid out of these so that the spider has anchor points to attach the web to, because this is really smooth and they like to, this is more natural. So what I'm going to need to do is kind of measure out where roughly the center would be if I was to make a pyramid shape, and go ahead and just make those cuts. So there we go. That's how you break your scissors. Okay, so you hear the saying haste makes waste, or you always need the right tool for the job. This is what it should be using. Okay, so go ahead and cut that at about there. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off 3 or 4 of them, just depending on how I'm feeling for the day. Let's start with, yeah, let's do 4, heck with it. We're being fancy here. Okay, so now I got 4. Now, I'm gonna hot glue these in basically a pyramid shape, going towards the center, kind of like this. Kind of can get an idea of what I'm doing there. And basically, yeah, just hot glue it. I'm not going to show that part. I'm just going to do this. So I'm going to hot glue this, and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so I've got them all anchored with hot glue at the top, but I'm leaving the bottom loose for right now. So none of these are attached to one another. What I want to do is, before I do anything else, in case I need to trim some down, I want to put the lid back on it and make sure that everything fits and that nothing's gonna hit the bottom, so that it'll prevent the lid from closing. So now that I know that that's good, I'll go ahead and put a little bit of glue down here on these anchor points at the bottom here. Just a little bit, just to hold them so that nothing can kind of pinch anything or get any spiders caught in it. But yeah, not a ton. Just hold that till it dries. Should just take a second. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let's put the base back on just to make sure. Oh, there we go. Base is on. Okay, doesn't reach the bottom. That's what you want. You want the bottom to have just a little bit of a clearing on it so that it doesn't push down on it. So limits the amount of pinch points you can have and accidentally trap something under it. Okay, so that's pretty much the whole setup. So that gives the anchor points for the spider to make its web on. It's got the two sides, ventilation, plenty of cross ventilation. And then for humidity and to make things easier to clean, what I use is just a roll of toilet paper. Take a couple of ply, fold them over, and just stick them on the bottom like that. And that'll hold in a little bit of humidity. It's super easy to change out and clean. I change it out at least once a week, sometimes more often if they're, you know, really in a big growth cycle and they're pooping a lot and eating a lot. But yeah, just a quick spritz of water. That should be plenty for the humidity and everything to stay up in there. Put the lid back on. And there you have it. Perfect little house for your next spider. Okay, so it's ready to go. The only thing left to do is to put a spider in it. And I just so happen to have one ready to go. So this is, she's in the lid, a little Latrodectus elegans. Beautiful, beautiful black widow. And we're gonna go ahead and get her into there. And actually what I'm gonna do, just so I don't disturb her too much, I'm gonna place this whole thing in there and let her build her web, and then I'll take this bottom part out. Unless she's willing to walk out on her own, then maybe. Wanna check out your new spot? Come on, you got a new home now. There she goes. So, she's ready to go. Put the lid on. Now I'm gonna flip this over very slowly, so I don't drop her. There she goes. She's ready to make her new home.